Here are the steps to use unit assessments and exit tickets for Amplify, Carnegie, Eureka, HMH, and other publishers that your school might be using. Go to Lessons and Assessments, choose Curricula, choose the publisher. Let's look at Eureka Math. Let's just choose a grade to look at here. Let's go grade 3. And here we have a scope and sequence laid out by the module or unit, then with topics that we'll be covering. Some of you will have exit tickets depending on what your district has made available to you, but almost everyone will have unit assessments. So let's take a look at launching a unit assessment. I'm going to click on that. Now it's opened up down here. I can see what we have to work with. It said we had 2 assessments, and here they are, mid-module and end-of-module. Let's take a look at this end-of-module assessment. Before we do anything, it's good to preview so that you'll be prepared to help your students and you'll know what's coming. So in preview mode, first of all, notice we've got a different tab, so we'll be able to just close this when we're done previewing. But here we can see what students will see. This is a hotspot question where they click on the hotspot. We've got other question types, so these are pick lists, these are fill in the blanks. For example, you also have student work where the students will submit text that they type in. But you'll also notice you see these student tools along the top. These are for you to review in this preview mode, but you'll make these available optionally as you launch this for your students. It's a good idea here for you to see these, be able to look at them and see how they work. Follow your leadership on what tools they would want you to turn on. A note about text-to-speech. You'll see text-to-speech here. This is going to be available for IEP and 504 students, depending on the demographic setting that's in All in Learning. But to see how this works, they'll be able to change the rate of speech. There's lots of voices they can choose from. To use text-to-speech, students will simply highlight the text that they need read to them.
Mr. Lewis arranges all the desks in his classroom into 6 equal groups of 4.
So let's go ahead and close this out. Now we've gotten a good idea of what the assessment's going to look like for our students. Before we activate, let's look at one more thing. Under Actions and Print, you'll see that you can print the key. If you're doing backward design and you need that key, then there you go. You've got it right there. But now let's go ahead and look at activating it. So we're going to choose Activate and then Post to Student Portal. And we choose our class. You can select multiple classes at once. Choose the class and click Start for selected classes. And now you need to know about these options. For the most part, we've set the defaults to the most common preferences, and we've got questions presented on the student device. Yes, these are all the student tools that we saw. These are settings for the availability of the assessment, like a time window where the students will have access to it. This one is set an assessment time limit so that whenever they activate it in their student account, they'll only have, for example, 30 minutes to finish it. This one's important because you may have an IEP student, maybe they're new on your roster, but for some reason the demographic setting isn't correct in All in Learning yet. And some student information systems are not passing along that demographic to All in Learning. So your admins will go into that student and set that demographic setting. And you can turn this to No. So for now, that student would be able to access this. This one is also quite important because kick students out of assessment if they leave the assessment screen means that if they are in the assessment in the browser tab, if they click anywhere outside of that tab, even accidental clicks outside of the area will cause them to be kicked out of the assessment, requiring you to assist them to let them back into the assessment. You can scramble the test questions. You can let the students at the end of the assessment see which questions they missed. And then if this one's turned on, you can even have it show them automatically what the correct answers were for them to be able to click around on, for example, multiple choice and see which one was correct. Have access to the slides, meaning they can go back and review the questions to figure out where they went wrong. Okay, I've got the settings that I like. Now I'm going to click Next. And I'm reviewing my settings. I like them all. Let's go ahead and activate this for the class. I click Activate. So I'm still sitting on the screen. If I had activated this for multiple classes, I would see all my class names here in green showing it's activated for them. But I want to go in and monitor progress. So if I click on the class name, it's going to open up my grading screen. Here, as the students progress, I would be able to see, for example, Larry Allen has answered 7 out of 10 questions. It would give me that progress so I can see where we are. When a student is finished and they've clicked I'm finished, and if there's nothing that you need to look at, the student's name will be turned green. If you know you need to grade student work or look at anything, that's what this little hand icon is for. It means manual grading. So I'm going to click on that. An important note about manual grading is that the student may not have ended the test. They may not have clicked I'm finished, which means they're still able to make changes. So you'll be able to end students' assessment so that you can then do manual grading without them still being able to make changes that would conflict. And so in this mode, I can see each question. I can see what the student answered. I'll be able to view the questions here. If they have submitted an essay, there'll be a button here that's blue that says View Student Work. I'll be able to click on that. And once I've finished grading all of my students, I can click End Session so that I'll get report data. However, I don't have to end the session at this moment. I can click Leave Session Active, or I can just navigate away from this screen. So the session is still active. When I log in, I'll be able to see all the active sessions that have not been ended yet. The reason we put this here is this is one of our common technical support questions. Someone will contact us and say, I activated this assessment, all my students are finished, but I can't find the report. It's because it's still active. So we show it here in this little convenient panel, and in order to go and close it out, I'll click Activate, and that takes me back to the grading screen where I'm getting back to it. And here I can go ahead and do any final manual grading that I need to do and then end the session. So I'm going to end the session. And now I'll be able to go to reports and see the session there. Click on those sessions. Immediately you see the proficiency, sort, group students. I'll be able to look at the non-proficiency by standard, which is very helpful for students and to see what they need to work on. You can post to the student portal. I'll also be able to see the item analysis that just details every one of the responses, lets me quickly identify why all these students answered C. Maybe I've got a distractor there that I can cover at the end of class. And one final note, in your Reports tab under Sessions, you'll see Actions. Those of you that are using PowerTeacher Pro will have a Export to PowerTeacher Pro button. You can just click that and it will automatically export it to PowerTeacher Pro for you. Of course, the support button is always helpful. We have articles on almost every subject you might need to know and live chat during school hours with a very quick response time. Don't hesitate to contact them. They're fantastic. And for a quick review one last time, just to make sure that you know how to get to those exit tickets and unit assessments, you go to Lessons Assessments and Curricula.